That's right. Still looking forward to the days when there'll be food sufficiency in Nigeria. It's our drive here, and we hope you join us. Now let's go to something a bit different from that. It's the e-platform of the NGX, the digital platform, which they expect to make the most of, especially now that the capital market is very busy since the banks are on the recapitalization drive. We have joining us Mr. Temi Popola. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Exchange Group. Thank you so much, Mr. Popola, and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this e-platform for a very long time. I guess this is a very unique time for it to come up. We see that so many banks are heading to the capital market.
That is correct. So yes, indeed. If you go back, I think several years, actually, you would find that the exchange, the regulator, the SEC, and critical market stakeholders have always looked forward to an opportunity like this, where we can, just distribute securities electronically, distribute our securities digitally, very unlike the paper sort of approach that has historically been used. So this is, I think, the result and the fruit of collective efforts in that regard. Several years of work by, many people, many stakeholders. We're very fortunate to be bringing this to life now.
So I believe this is in line with the modernization of the Nigerian capital market infrastructure.
That is correct. So yes, indeed, if you think through several aspects of just what it takes both to raise capital at the primary level and also then to transact in those securities at the secondary market, you would find that different parts of that ecosystem, needs to be digitized a bit further. On the secondary market side of things, if you look there, you would find that the exchange, the SEC, the CSCS, and all the market infrastructure, that portion of our market has been very digital. If you remember during COVID, for example, the exchange was shut for 3 years as no one was allowed to move physically. And for those 3 years, we never had a single down day or downtime in trading. This speaks to the heart of digitization there. So what we've done now is just to try to extend that and push that frontier into primary markets. And so today, you can very, very easily, for any of the primary market offerings that you've heard about today, many of the banks doing rights issuances, doing public offers. If you simply go right now to invest.ngxgroup.com, you'll be able to invest in those securities in under 2 minutes, start to finish, with a very smooth, sort of experience, the ability to pay electronically, and that gateway is connected to every other part of the ecosystem, that you would normally need to connect with for a primary market issuance.
Could you say that website again? And also, what are some of the requirements? I do know before now you need to have a CSCS number and all of that. What about some of those requirements?
Sure. Thank you very much. So the website is actually that's 3 W's. It's a www.invest.ngxgroup.com, invest.ngxgroup.com. So yes, you raise a very good point. Traditionally, if you're an existing investor in the capital market, you would need to have what you call a CHN number or CSCS number. This platform allows you to put that CHN CSCS number in there, and it will pull you up from the central database. If for whatever reason, either because you can't remember those numbers or those digits, or perhaps because you actually don't have one, because you maybe haven't invested before, or you don't remember when last you invested, that's also okay. You can come in there as a new investor. The experience is very seamless. You'll be asked to select a broker. You will be aware that, to transact securities in the capital markets here, you need a broker. So you'll be given the opportunity to pick a broker. And in the back end, whether it's to fetch the CHN number that you had before that you can't remember, or whether it's to create a new one, all of that will be done electronically in the back end. So there are APIs into the CSCS, for example, that's responsible for that. There are APIs into NIBS to just ensure that the person that you claim you are is who you really are for KYC. There's connections into payment gateways. So it's a very smooth, nice experience. Whether you know those CHN numbers, whether you don't, whether you've ever transacted before, it's all there for you to use.
So are you planning to expand beyond the primary securities, which you're doing now on the digital platform?
The simple answer is no. So there's very strict regulation that governs what we do within sort of as an exchange. But also, if you remember, as I started earlier, when you look at the secondary markets part of our business, it's very, very efficient. It's highly digitized. What we're just trying to do here is to, within the ambits of the regulation that governs us by the SEC, see how much more support we can offer to our ecosystem. I mean, we do have in that primary market space many digital, sort of intermediaries. As a matter of fact, if you go back in 2021, there was an end-to-end digital sort of, capital raising activity then. What we have done now, is to scale that effort. So in this situation now, you would have many of the banks who, for example, are connected to this gateway, which means that for many banks today, if you go at the end of your mobile device, you're trying to transact, you're trying to transfer money normally, you would find an opportunity also to participate and to acquire their shares or their rights. And that is because of APIs that the banks also have consumed. So you can think of this now as scaling that up, giving a lot more multiple access and gateways into the central platform, of which this NGX Invest website we mentioned just now is just another gateway. But the centrality of it is this platform that aggregates everything and makes all the back end work and activity capital raising a lot more smoother.
But doesn't that imply that perhaps there will be some time when this platform, the digital platform, will be fallow? Because I know the market is very busy now with the banks. But do you often have the primary securities, coming into the market?
Absolutely. So when we talk about primary, it's actually these banks being busy. So if you take, I'm trying to be careful not to mention any bank now, but for any that is currently raising capital today, when you go on this website, invest.ngxgroup.com, you'll be asked to log in like any website or interface of such a nature. Once you're in, you would find the ability for every single one of those bank securities that you can select. And as I said, in under 2 minutes, you'd be done investing in those securities. So by primary market, those are the transactions actually that we refer to. Today, as far as we know, there are 2 rights issuances by 2 banks, and there are 2 public offers by 2 banks. All 4 offerings are live on this platform, and you can invest in them in minutes.
All right, talking about making it easy. Now, I know that the NGX is making the most of this opportunity, but thank you so much, Mr. Atemi Kwekwala, for this. We've been looking forward to, this digital platform and ease into getting into the market for a while. Wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.